Happy Friday, everyone. And I think I went live a little bit earlier than I expected, and you might have just heard me saying that Kate, the cat's going to knock down your computer. Tyson's running around and smacking everything at the moment. She's in a hyper mood. Hi, Steph.
Hi. Wait, oh, it's Saturday. Wait, what day is it?
Why are you so confused?
I don't know why. I'm just very
We've been chatting for 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden you just feel like you came out of a coma and you're having amnesia.
Yeah, I thought today's Saturday.
Did I say Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you're confused. Okay, it's me. I'm the problem. That's often the case. Um, it's actually Sunday for us. Yes,
Yeah,
I
I was
used to
gonna
do
say
these
like
on a
what
Friday. Ah, okay. So yeah, I can we just rewind about a minute and a half and start this normally? Hi, Steph. How are you on this fine
Hi.
morning evening?
Hi, I am doing pretty good on this Saturday night. Yeah.
Excellent. Likewise on this Sunday morning, 10:02 a.m. in Hong Kong. Little bit chilly, not as chilly as it looks like it is in Steph's house though. How about those of you in the room? Where are you guys chiming in from? How are you doing? Let us know. Say hi. Yes, so I was actually surprised this week's shadow themed competition. We didn't get as many entries as I had suspected, so I don't know what's going on. We get a lot of messages from people that they love the show and it's great to see, and it'll be good that we should be seeing more entries shown, but we're not getting enough entries. So there's names in the chat right now that I have not seen your shot, so I would love to have you get involved in next week's show. So in the first 5 minutes, let's choose what that theme's going to be so that we can, actually, let's just go with patterns. So
Sweet.
patterns will be our theme for next week. Get your shot in over at mattgranger.com/live. So it could be a pattern in the ground or the wallpaper or someone's dress or a shadow pattern or whatever, but the theme will be pattern. So it
Yeah,
could
a
even be
pattern
like,
of otters or puppies.
so that keeps it
Ooh.
really nice and broad. I wonder if pattern is a collective noun. Like you said, a pattern of otters. I wonder if there is actually something like that. I heard a fun new one. A The collective noun for Karens is a complaint. A complaint of Karens. How good is that?
That is so good. Oh my. Oh, actually, I don't know if I should even be saying this on like live, but I follow this new Instagram account. It's called Karen.unhinged. I'll have to send it to you
Please
afterwards.
do.
It's
Please do.
it's pretty good.
Did you watch the? We better get to the show soon. But did you watch the Netflix comedy Rewind on 2020?
No,
Oh, it's
I did.
quite
I
funny.
don't think I want to look back at
No,
2020.
it's in a very funny way. But there's a very good Karen in that that's worth a look.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Let's get into these photos then before
let's
everybody's
do
like, what
that.
is happening?
So VS Grip, hi from SoCal, James Sanders, Kentucky, Darren Clisby in Canada, UK, Scotland. Where in Scotland are you, Colin? London, Perth. Oh, Perth is the same time as Hong Kong. I didn't realize that. So hi, Graham. Thanks for tuning in. So we're going to jump in and take a look at your shadow shots. A couple of little reminders. Each week we go through, and it's a competition in the sense of that we are giving away prizes at the end, but it's more to share, have a sense of community, do something together whilst we're all still somewhat limited in our movements, and hopefully by seeing each other's works and getting Steph and my opinions, they're not facts, it's just two people's opinion, it may help inform your own work. So seeing each other's images should be, I hope, just as important or more important even than winning or not winning a prize. So it's a really nice thing to do. If you have a shot that you think fits the theme of patterns, please submit it for next week and we can all take a look at them then. So we actually have fewer shots today than we often do, but let's just take a little look at them. Bring up Lightroom. Oh, first of all, plug. A reminder that you would have heard me talking about it if you've been watching a while, the Art Nude Posing Guide 2021 with Johanna and Steph as the models. It just went live yesterday or 36 hours ago. It's basically all I've been working on this year, putting together the edit on all of it. So Steph and Johanna have been through it and given me their feedback and okayed everything. Those of you who pre-ordered it over at artnudeportraiture.com, it's now showing in your dashboard. You can watch all the videos and the PDF. The video is just under 2 hours long, like an hour 56 or something like that. And the PDF is 200 pages long and formatted so you can either look at it on your device or print it out at A4 and then use the images as posing reference for your models. And it has the shooting information, the direction of light, the kind of light we used, all of that, so you can kind of start the process to recreate the image for yourself and then take it in whatever direction is going to work for your setup and model. So check that out. It's on the launch sale now. It's like 55% off. Probably for a week or so, we'll see how it's going. And then it'll jump up to its full price. So thanks again for that, Steph. It feels like a lifetime ago that we filmed that. We had like this whirlwind. It was actually the last big set of filming that we did, but I went down to Philly with Jonathan and we filmed for 4 or 5 days, a whole bunch of stuff. And this was, one of those things we did. I still have so much to get out from those days. It was a very productive time. But it does feel like a whole other lifetime. That was the same time we did the Maleficent body paint shoot. That was actually,
we filmed it right.
Boom. It only took 6 months. Everyone, please be proud of me. So let's jump in and take a look at our entries then. So Charles Young. Charles has been entering loads of shots, often from Morocco, but from all different interesting parts of the world. So this most likely wasn't, to the eye, a hugely contrasty scene. There would have been a really hard beam of light coming through, but I'm sure if you had stepped and shot it from the other side, this guy who looks to be selling fruit was probably in just diffuse light, but there was a really hard beam here. So to get this kind of a dramatic result, it's basically either spot metering for the area of the stairs there that are in the sharp beam of light, or matrix metering the whole scene and underexposing it a couple of stops so that he kind of comes out a little bit dark but about right, and then the areas that are in shadow here really fall away. So as we go through these, as I outlined last week, for a theme like shadows, every image just about has light and shadow. That's how it works. So to actually win a competition like this, it needs to be that the shadows are a key element that's making the shot work. That it's not just that it has some shadows and it's a great shot. The shadows have to be key to it. So here, in a sense, the shadows are because they're framing the whole shot. If it were just flatly lit, it's a guy in a super busy scene. Here, the beam of light catches just him, and then everything else falls away. So it's kind of two sides of the same coin. You could say it's the pinpoint of light or the shadow that's making it work on this kind of a one. Any thoughts on this, Steph?
Yeah, I like the shadow that's created. It almost like kind of outlines whatever structure is like in front of him. At first I thought the square on the far right was like a mirror, but I think that's just a cutout. So I'm really curious what the whole entire scene actually looks like what he's sitting on and like just from different angles, but it was very trippy at first looking at this shot.
Excellent. So thank you for that one, Charles, and always good to see. I think you only just started sharing I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, and you don't think you've missed a competition yet, so thanks for that. Colin Harrison. Now, interesting use of shadow here. So this is actually one of the key things the Art Nude Posing Guide, we're using shadows and posing and lighting and camera angle to reveal and conceal what we want. So actually, whilst we have an idea, we don't really know her body shape from this because the shadow is adding that mystery. And it's partly to do with the sharp angle of the light, partly to do with her specific curves, but also the exact pose that she's created. This could almost be her super arched back coming up out of, a bathtub with the water being the shadow. But in this case, it's probably just her standing there, really arching her back, and it's catching the shoulders and her hips, and then the rest falls away. But we don't know, at the moment she's shaped super hourglassy, like she's wearing a corset. We have no idea of her actual hips and the shape there because it's all in shadow. So it creates a really interesting, almost kind of, I don't know, like some kind of goth vibe. It does feel like she's in like a corset or something that she's got such an unusual body shape here. What do you think, Steph?
Well, one pick, I think that this is such a creative way of like using a shadow to kind of create this illusion of just a really thin waist. I mean, you've seen like those body painting artists where like they'll just paint like black and it looks like they're super
Yep.
thin or whatnot. I mean, this is like kind of a cheap way just to kind of use like shadows and lighting. I think it's super creative, and this one's very trippy. Like, geez.
So it's a much more powerful tool than we often give it credit for. If you guys aren't watching already or following, sorry, check out on Instagram. Steph and I both have our pages. Steph is FamiTKD and mine's _ Granger. Maybe someone can throw them in the chat. I shared recently a series of images with Steph making really slight adjustments in her position of her back. And I mean, like, between each shot, maybe moving like half an inch without moving my camera angle much and the light not moving at all, her feet planted. And as it goes from being her back looking like a fitness model with the light and shadow rippling over every muscle because it was on just the right angle, to being completely flat lit and her basically looking not ripped at all just because of the angle that the light's hitting. And it's the same here with this woman hiding her midsection, but also we did the same basic test, but in a different pose with Steph. I don't know if you remember that series of images front to the camera, and it actually, it's an optical illusion. I'm sorry to be so specific, but it made your breasts look kind of triple the size or a third of the size, depending on the way the shadow was being cast. If they were directly hit, any object that you photograph that way loses its kind of shape and form and depth when there's no shadow information. But then when you just get a little bit of light on one side and then a long shadow, it creates the illusion of it having a lot of depth, which for a body part makes it look like it has more volume, essentially. So do get creative with the angle of your light. You'll find that it doesn't just add mystery by hiding things in shadows. You can totally change the way people perceive the form of something by changing the shadow.
Yeah, I wish I could have that shadow like cast on me all the time. I mean, I know some makeup artists, they like, especially cosplayers, they actually will create contour, just like shadowing on like their chest or like their face, just to give them like a different look.
I've got to find that. So I saw that Michael Jackson back in the day had his own lighting guy who would go with him everywhere if he got stopped for an interview to make sure he didn't look too freak showish or that he looked his best anyway.
What?
So you want that for your body then. But I have to find that.
That would be so cool.
There's an Australian YouTuber, I'm sure I've mentioned her before. Her name's Natalie Tran. Her channel's Community Channel, and it was one of the first blow-up ones for Australia, at least. And I think it would be one of the first female comedy skit show channels that was anywhere. And her first big video, or the first one that I saw, was responding to what you just said, and it was a sincere kind of valley girl showing how to do makeup to tone and contour your abs so that your crush at the beach will be impressed. And she made a parody of it just using a Sharpie, basically just drawing a line and just drawing a six pack on. And if you like, you can also just put a little V here, and then it creates the illusion of having cleavage as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Tyson is back at the computer, and there's a good chance she's going to start smacking at the screen. So wish us luck, folks. We
Oh
may end
God.
up losing a cable in this process. Let's jump on here to Darren Clisby. I saw you're in the chat. Thank you for this one, Darren. So in the dramatic light and shadow course that we did, Steph, we did this kind of thing of casting shadows onto the body or onto the face or whatnot. Here so also using a colored gel. So I like the concept. I think it's a really pretty piece of fabric as well. I think you could be quite specific about where you put the shadows with the pattern of the flower, for example. You could have that right on her breast or right on the eye or whatever to be really intentional about it. Two or three things that I think you could really improve on this though. One, this isn't a you should have done it this way, but if you want to have a crisper shadow, move your light further away from whatever, the sheet or the piece of silk that you were shooting through. That'll give you a crisper shadow onto your subject and have that piece of fabric as close to them as possible. So say put the fabric a foot away from your subject and then put the light 9 foot away from that, you'll get a much crisper shadow. And the other one is, I don't really think that the pose is doing much for us here. We've got the hand chopped off. It seems like her chest is what's in sharp focus. The hip is the brightest part, being closest to the light. But I don't think she's on an unusual enough angle for it to be like a dramatic, strange kind of leading line. But it's enough that her arm and leg are somewhat distorted. And then her face, which looks like it's got great shadows on it, we can't really make out in this one. So I think maybe her pose may be fine, but maybe the vantage point you're shooting this shot, you could have got a better shot on it. What do you think, Steph?
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like maybe a different angle for this. I mean, if your focus is just to kind of like get a shot with the shadows, just to kind of like highlight the body, then I think you're going for, I guess you're getting kind of close here, but I feel like we're missing something without seeing her face. I feel like with a pattern like this, you could even shoot like really close and like to see how the shadows kind of like fill her face. I mean, there's a lot of options that you could have gone about here, but I think the pose it kind of makes her look very stiff and uncomfortable. If you wanted to go with like the really strange poses where it like makes you kind of think a little bit more, then like contorting your body in like a weird way would probably demonstrate that more so. But like just a flat hand and straight arm and like I mean a pose like this it's not easy either because it's like you're turning your hip all the way over and then keeping your like chest relatively straight in one position, then you have to turn your neck the other way and your head this way. It's uncomfortable. And especially with shadows, it's hard for the model to even really know where the shadows even fall. So if you wanted to have like, I guess that flower spot on with like the nipple, it's like either moving the light or moving the model. This type of shot is going to take a lot of time. That's just really how it is. So I think just keep working on it and just improve on like just build off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. David Moore. So here using the shadow, basically there's no real shadow detail in the sense that we're just seeing something through the shadow. It's that the shadow is basically acting like a cookie. We're getting a silhouette. So the piers and whatnot down in the foreground, and then the bridge, and then the plant are all being backlit by that intense sunlight. So basically everything we're getting, it's like a an ink blot print that's been built up with the mountains are really washed out, the bridge is quite washed out, and then the foreground is super dark shadows, and then the tree has flare around it, so it's a little bit washed out as well. I don't know that it's quite level, which kind of gets on my nerve, but I think it is a shot where it's the shadow that's making the shot work as it does. If it weren't for all of that being in shadow and it were flatly lit, there'd be so much information to try and process. Here we do kind of get focused in on the bridge, the mountains, the flagpole in the foreground. So in that sense, I think it works. I'd love to see it. So what were the settings on this one? F22 at 70 mil. Okay, and 1/1600th of a second. I don't know if you, by default, always leave your camera on ISO 400, but just a tip, you could drop your ISO back to its base setting and then have more leeway in your shutter speed or aperture, and most likely get a better file off it. I would like to see it probably stepped further back and then use an even longer lens to bring it into, this won't give you the same effect because we're just cropping rather than changing actually the vantage point, but bringing it into a frame kind of like that, I think would be maybe even stronger. What do you think, Steph?
We're waiting to see what frame you have. Actually, I like the frame as is. But yeah, I think the one thing is it's not even, and my OCD like kicked in right away. So when you said that, I was like, oh my god, thank God it wasn't just me, because I was like, am I tripping here? Because it's like, am I not straight? But yeah, I think, I mean, it's a cool shot, but I think my only issue is just the level.
Gotcha. Let's jump out here for a second, take a look at some questions. If you have questions, folks, then please send them through. Just pop a Ask Matt or Ask Steph, and I'm getting some sent through to my phone to answer here. David True and someone else both asked, did you get a new webcam? Keith Z, was that for Steph or for me? So Steph did a few months ago start using an external webcam, and her video quality has jumped.
Except for audio. Sorry, guys.
And my one, I've never been using a webcam. I've slightly changed, but not really. I'm currently filming this with the Sony A7S III. Before that, I was using an A9 or something like that, or the R4. So shouldn't be a noticeable difference. Maybe just, I don't know what the difference could be. I often just look really crispy.
Oh, they're just saying you look good, Matt.
Duh. I often, my video may look super crisp because I'm using a full frame camera and Steph's using a webcam. So when you're seeing us side by side, by comparison, it just looks good. Let's see. Questions. Coco Manchigan. Make a guide about playing with the foreground or something like that. Let me know more of what you're thinking. I've certainly done videos about, and we filmed last year a series that will go live later about finding the shot in any given scene. And for that, we certainly were using foreground elements a lot.
I barely remember.
And then I had 3 questions about what camera I'm using. So that's that pretty much covered. The cat's back here. Let's see. Any questions for Steph? When was the last time you had a donut, Steph?
A very long time.
Oh, you poor thing. I'm going to send you a box of donuts.
Oh, that would be amazing.
My gift. I sent Jo out for dinner the other day. She was tossing up whether she should indulge after she's been trying to save so hard on a nice dinner, so I treated her to dinner. So, although you've been working out and stuff, are you sure you want donuts? I don't want to pressure you on air. You let me know. I don't want to.
Cheat day.
I don't want to shame
It's
you
the
or guilt you into it. So.
Okay, no, because all right, I'm okay with eating whatever. I just have to work it off. Because on my Discord chat,
Work.
the like last night, everybody was telling me about. Have you heard of a, a chip? What chip
Oh, the
buddy?
microchip that goes into your body when they give you the
No, chip
vaccine?
buddy.
Yeah, I heard all
Chip
about that.
buddy.
No, I've
No,
never
have you
heard of
heard of?
it.
It's basically like steak, like cut fries, um, in a
Sorry,
white bun with mayo and
sorry.
butter,
You
and it
said
just
butty,
sounded,
like Butty, right?
yeah, butty. Yeah.
I thought you
Have you
meant
heard of
buddy,
it?
like it's something to do with cheat
Oh
day
no.
buddy. Yeah,
Wait,
that's
but have you had it?
in Australia. I don't deal with all the butter or mayonnaise, but yeah, having chips in a sandwich is in bread is standard. Not
Is
standard,
it
but I think
good? I've
every
never
kid.
had it.
I mean, it's just
I've
all
never
of
heard of it before.
the carbs you could possibly imagine. They just got to be really,
Yeah.
really crunchy chips. Otherwise, it just becomes a pound of dough.
Yeah. So we like talked for like an hour last night about this just because I've like they said fish fingers and I was like, what are fish fingers? We
What?
call them fish sticks. And I was like, whoa, fish fingers? I just imagine like fish with fingers. And I
Giant
was like, that's
hands.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we just got into a conversation of like chip butties. And then they're like, you should try it. It's really good. It's the bee's knees. It's amazing. And I was like, all right, fine. That's goals right there. We're going to have to work it off. But yeah.
Well, you could just have a tiny chip butty. One steak cut fry between some wafers or something like that.
I want the experience.
Well, then, did we have fish and chips when we went to England together?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. It was
There you
like
go.
the first night. Was it the meet and greet maybe?
I don't remember. At the pub. Maybe you did. Anyway, let's get back to the pictures. If there's anyone tuning in who joined us that night in Westferry, I think it was, hi and thanks. Hope we can get back soon. London's always a really fun town to visit. So, where are we? Let's go back to our pictures and our questions. If you have more questions, send them through. Dirk Hassis. So I think this is another, he said it was a new war memorial or anti-war installation. So not reading, I think, German. I'm not sure exactly what this is saying. It could be the names of people who died, or it could be a poem or some kind of a message. But obviously it's been designed this way so that when the sun hits it at a certain time of day, the, I guess, metal cut out of words is casting a shadow onto the rocks, which has its own message as well, which maybe is like a list of battles or something, because I can see Hamburg and something Platz and so forth. So this is basically a built structure that's somewhere between one of those sundials and the shot our earlier person submitted with the lace that is intentionally using a cookie object, so something that will intentionally cast a shadow onto the second layer. I would have a greater sense of meaning and ability to give feedback on the actual composition if I knew what it was saying. Maybe there's a really powerful message in the words there. But I think it's nicely done. I do think you have to do something quite creative, though, if you're going to basically take a photo of someone else's creative work and make it your own. And it's kind of hard for me to judge if you've done that with the framing of this not speaking the language. What do you think, Steph?
I mean, I don't know what it says, but I do like how it's framed with like I guess the military like figure in the back left corner.
Yeah.
I think that is just a really interesting like shot altogether. Um, it's such a little thing, but it looks like there's like a gate there. I would just kind of crop that out and just like zoom in a little bit, but I think that that's my only critique. But I give it a pick. I like it.
Steph's giving it a pick. Good work. Let's have, if you don't mind, sorry to put you on the spot, Steph, but let's have Steph comment first on the next couple so that I don't take all of the momentum. John Sullivan.
Oh my gosh, I get like Mulan feels with this for some reason. Um, I like it. I feel like it's a little too dark underneath her chin, but I mean, I feel like, well, obviously I like dyed my hair and everything, but I feel like before when I would have to do like photo shoots, lighting is a little difficult when you have black hair, just because a lot of times it's just too dark and you just kind of disappear in like the image and like the background. But I feel like with this and the posing and just like how she's positioned and looking down, it actually works. Personally, I would prefer her eyes open because it looks like it's just black eyes. You can't see her like pupils or anything at all. But I think that this shot actually works pretty well, and I would give this one a pick too.
Pick monster in the house. Just
You
sorry, when I
know,
hit a pick on this one, it likes to move forward to the next shot. So I take all of Steph's advice, feedback on board. It's good, especially from a model's perspective. Having shot things like this all the time, she's totally right that the dark hair can be challenging. If you wanted to bring that chin line back, just putting a small reflector under just to get the tiniest little edge light there could work. But this essentially is playing exactly the same way as the earlier shot we saw of the woman with the super hourglass physique, because the angle of the light, when you're figuring out how to light a body or a face or anything, you have to look at the specific curves and shape of that. And this woman's face will be different to mine, will be different to Steph's, will be different to whoever's. So here we're getting, the way that it's shaping her face. If you saw her flatly lit, you may not really recognize her because this is giving kind of, we're seeing a shelf kind of her cheek and nose, and then really nothing of the profile of the rest of her face because of the way the light is falling. It's not a critique, it's just how it is. And I actually think her eyes are open. There's just no way that you're going to get light in those eyes with her head tilted down and the light in that direction. And it looks like he's actually already brushed in some extra light around the chin and mouth to try and get that up, which I get it, we all do that sometimes, but overall I think this would benefit from just being boosted by about a stop in exposure, and then you get to a point where those are popping. You're still nowhere near hitting your highlights. And to be honest, Steph, it's something that I find with you too. If I don't have the light in the right direction, your eyes go dead on me.
yeah.
It's and it's not just a small eye thing. It's a combination of the shape of the brow and how big are the eyelashes and where is the direction of the light. We do this in an example. So this woman has quite a strong bridge of her nose. Steph has a lower bridge of her nose. So if you were light, and I have a strong bridge and a big nose as well. So if you were lighting me or this woman from one side, really sharp angle, you would get a cut off and then a shadow on the second eye. Whereas Steph, you're more likely to get it pass through and get light in her second eye there. But if you're top lighting, less likely. So you need to really pay attention to the specific shape of the person that you're lighting. That's all general advice, John. I'm not saying you didn't do that or pay attention to your subject. That's advice for people at home. But if you were trying to get extra little bits of light in there, then that's a way to do it. And as I've boosted it up there about 8/10 of a stop, I think that works better. Getting a bit of light in on the chin and the lip, I think opens the shot up. When we're down at it where we started off, I think it's just a bit too far under. And one more for you first, Steph.
Okay.
Teeth.
Oh, nice.
I'm getting
Um,
Goldie Hawn vibes from this. Like 80s
I
Goldie
don't know.
Hawn.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, is this from like a movie? A still from a movie? Um, I actually really like this too. Wow, maybe I'm just really generous today. I don't know. But
Pick.
I hey, I didn't give it a pick. Are you giving it a pick
No, you go ahead.
already? Oh, okay. I actually really like it. I think it's done really well. The pose, I like. I mean, I would have done the pose a little bit different, but
Well,
I think
you
it works
let
really
them know.
well
What's
with.
your feedback on the post?
I mean, I would have just. Well, also because I have like a little belly, so I don't like to kind of like bend forward. So I would have just like arched my back, but it's also hard to keep that like head position. But I like that she's within the frame of the mirror, like her real body, but it's still like hiding what needs to be hidden. Um, and the pointing of the toes is also a nice touch. If anything, I think it's a little too dark towards her legs, but I mean, I think it's. I mean, she's getting. I'm assuming lit from the bulbs of the mirror, so
Yeah.
I like it. It's nice. It's different. It really stands out, and it's memorable. I mean, a little thing. The mirror is really it's gross, but I mean, I think it kind of works. Yeah.
So, agree with all that Steph said. That is a challenging pose. This woman must have no belly when she's standing to have that flat of a midsection with the arch back or the hunched back. With the leg, I don't mind the light, maybe the left leg a little, but the fact that we're getting that nice edge light along the top side of the leg, I think it works. Um, I I also like, I think every photographer has shot using a makeup mirror. They're not normally with such huge bulbs like this one. The only thing is, I'm kind of torn in a way. Yes, like the silhouette of the Golden Gate Bridge, it's the shadows that are making it work because what we're seeing is where the shadows end. But it's not really like if we're taking the woman as the subject, the shadow information that doesn't do that much. There's a fairly, it's not like a dramatic shadow on the camera side of her body that's giving her form. And then on the mirror, we see her completely flatly lit. So in that sense, it's nice if you look at reflected her on the right of frame and how flatly lit and kind of boring it is. And then you look at actual her with the shadows, it shows how much more interesting it is. But I think the important, if you're thinking about this from a photographer's point of view of how can you use highlight and shadow to make your shots interesting, the interest of this one is the shadow has cleaned up what was no doubt a room full of shit and mess because makeup and changing rooms always are. I bet there was roll paper and racks of clothes and all of that. So the fact that she's so close to the light source meant that he could really close down his shooting settings, which means all of the background has gone to black and you get rid of all of that mess. So even if it were a reasonably brightly lit room, putting your subject close to the light, then exposing correctly for them, you can let the shadows really fall away. And in that sense, I think this works nicely. Hello, Lucky. Oh, look at him. He's so chubby. How's Lucky?
He's good. He's been coughing a lot lately. I'm surprised he's not coughing now.
Dusty
He
or?
actually came over to me. No, he's fat.
Ooh, ooh, very cute. No cats for me today, unfortunately. Did we have any other questions come through? Let's see. I'm not sure what Keith is asking me there. And I'm not sure what Colin's asking either. Ask Steph, are you going to get Matt to buy
Like,
you a Knickerbocker Glory when you visit him? Do you
oh,
know what Colin's talking about?
a Knickerbocker Glory. They were educating me about that on Discord last night too. It's basically like a diabetes sundae.
And where do you get that?
I think Europe. So I mean I don't know where else.
I don't know if they
I'll
have
have
that
to
in
ask
Hong
them.
Kong, so I don't know if I can get her that when she visits me here. Um, Sorry, but I think it would be a little bit counterproductive to travel all the way around the world to get a free dessert. It kind of the balance is a little bit off there, but if that's what it takes, yes, all of the desserts. Steph, come visit us. We'd love to have you guys. I'm sure Hong Kong has its own great desserts, so you can come and try them. I'm sure they have a Krispy Kreme here. They have
We would have to work and then go like crazy with desserts because his body can't take it.
Oh, well, I don't know. We can just do a shoot and then throughout it, we can start with an athletic model and then a curvy model and then a
Oh
plus size
yeah.
model. We'll just go crazy for
Okay,
two
I'm okay
weeks
with that.
and have you shoot all kinds of different body types. Perfect.
Yeah, that'll show my range as a model. That'd be pretty good.
Let's jump back in. If you got some more questions, guys, send them through. And just for the record, just give me a little bit of context of what you're talking about because I'm a little bit sleepy still. We haven't been sleeping well and we had a big day of hiking yesterday and I'm kind of a little bit out of it. I need a coffee and a few more hours sleep, so give me all the help that you can. Now, I can't even find where is Lightroom and where is OBS. Okay, here we go. I'm also old. Okay, switching back. Lake Stevens. Now, I know exactly where this is. Do you want to give your thoughts first, Steph?
On where it is, I have no
No, I
idea.
mean just your thoughts on the image.
I mean, Lace, you always have like such amazing shots that I'm just like, whoa, where is this? I really like this. I think it is really cool that like you don't have any distractions. You just have that one, I guess, shadow or reflection of someone just standing there. I mean, I don't know if that's like a grab shot or you got somebody to just stand there, but that's dope. And I love like the water. That is water, right? I'm not tripping.
It's um, it's a water feature at Circular Quay in Sydney, unless there's more than one. Um,
Oh.
and it's like a big, what's the right word? Like the water's running down in concentric circles, but then there's one path that you can see that isn't so wet that you can walk all the way down to the bottom as well in the middle of it. But then it's just kind of, how do you explain it? Well, you can kind of see it there. It's like the walkway, but then it's got raised parts, so the water is forced to bump and bubble all the way down to make a pretty pattern in the water as it goes down. But there's always kids and people playing there. So if nothing else, I have to give him props having shot this. To get a single person but just get their reflection in the shot is quite difficult, and it is their reflection slash shadow. And the example I always give when we're talking about sculpting someone's body or sculpting anything with light, that it's the shadow information I always talk about. So abs or back muscles or breasts or whatever, it's the shadow on one side and the highlight on the other that gives us a sense of shape and form. Just like when you're seeing the sunrise in the desert and you're seeing the sand dunes, light and shadow on either side of the dune. That's the same thing here. We're getting that here though with the ripples of water going kind of up through the image. So nicely done, and you've already won everything, Lath, but it deserves a pick, but I think you've already won everything anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one, Steph? Nervouson, Matthew. And this must be a dancer,
Oh.
just because
Yeah, I
Matthew
was gonna
always
say,
shoots
is
dancers.
this a dancer? Um, huh. I feel like
Oh,
it's a
Steph,
little.
just sorry to interrupt, but if you're watching the webcam right now, Tyson's just jumping onto her chair. I told you it's her chair. I've just, after like 6 months, got myself a webcam, so whilst we're doing this, Steph can actually see me again, and she's seeing the wide view of the whole house. So right beside me is a massage chair, which Tyson basically owns. Anyway, please go ahead. People at home don't know what we're talking about.
I know, but it's like, oh, Tyson, I miss you. Oh. Sorry, she's just sitting. Okay. What was I gonna say? Oh, I just think it's a little too dark for me. I do like that there is some light, I guess, on her breast and then you could see like the outline of like her back and figure. I just think it's just a little too dark. And I'm not really sure about the framing either because it looks like the right side panel, it's like one of the frosted type of like panelings, and then the other two windows are just clear. Um, I feel like if she had, I mean, maybe it wouldn't have the same effect though if she were to move in the middle, but I think if she tied her hair back and you could actually see the whole outline of her body and figure, I think that could have been like a stronger shot.
So my guess is that they were going for a really mysterious shot where you only get hints of it. Because I think already he has painted in that light onto the breast that doesn't look like the way the natural light is falling off. It's quite a lot brighter than, say, the arm, which is closer to the light than the rest of her is. And I'm not going to push it too far because if they had done this shoot saying that her identity was going to be protected, I don't want to be the one to unprotect it. But lifting it a little, it looks like he has completely darkened out her face in post for that reason. So I'm thinking that he wanted it to be darker like that. But I do agree. I think just
Okay.
boosting it up like a stop is better. Um, for people at home, not necessarily just for Matthew, when you're looking at your histogram, yes, this shot does have all the way from blacks all the way through to whites, but the whites are this really blown out area in the background and these specular highlights in the tree. If there's two ways you can go about it. If you're using Lightroom, if you want to see what's my exposure balance just on, say, her torso, you can do a crop in like this, and then the histogram will change to show you what's the light balance in that frame. So that can be handy. Another way, if you go to your HSL sliders, well, yeah, HSL, and go to, or easier, because this is black and white, just to your tone curve, click on the little meter and then say grab the breast and slide it up a little. It'll just affect that area of the image so you don't totally blow out your highlights even further, but you can lift those, in this case, shadows a little bit up. So an option that you have there. Patrick Dufour. Ooh, super scary.
That
So,
is, that's creepy.
um,
What?
what?
Okay, so Tim and I, we've been watching
Something
this
Korean.
show on Hulu. No, it's not. It's called Ghost Adventures. And the editing for like the show, they do a lot of like B-roll stuff. This would totally be like one of those B-roll shots in that show.
Nice.
Just saying. And this would be a location that they would check out. This is creepy. Where is this?
Any old tunnel. I like it. The only thing I think so you're getting a really cool long shadow. I think all of that's working. I think if you want this to have even more impact, if you bring it down so that your subject's hands are close to the top of the frame, it's going to add a whole lot of impact. Then if you wanted to, you could move it slightly off center, maybe to this side. So you've got because it's got a more interesting wall with those pins popping out. And then this is, oh, that was probably too much. Then this is one that I think could actually really benefit from a black and white. But I think it's a cool and very, very simple use of shadows and perspective. So nicely done.
Yeah, and I think you were trying to hide like a tripod with your shadow, so that's pretty cool.
Or their bag or something there on the right, yeah.
Mm.
Karsten Larson, nice simple shot here, shooting with the sun coming through the light, probably on like a sun coming through the light, coming through the metal grate there, probably on like a bridge overpass or something like that. I think it works fine, but going in with a longer lens and just isolating her face and getting that beam on the left of frame out, I think you could get something quite interesting with a, so imagine if the frame was like this, but then without the beam in the top corner. I think would really clean up. Or even with the beam, I think bringing it in that much works a little bit better. What do you think, Steph?
Yeah, I actually don't mind the beam. But I do like a closer crop. Um, I think the pose is very natural. Uh, yeah, everything pretty much works, and the shadows on her face works really well.
Nice. Actually, nice and simple one. Giving that a pick. Thanos. I'm still not good with your surname. Deligianus. That felt confidently good. Um,
Yeah, sounded
so
good.
it's it's a little bit hard to tell if it's just that you got the line of shadow of the rising sun, maybe from a mountain or whatever behind you, casting the shadow straight through the center of the frame, and or I think it is kind of that, but then also that's where the city kind of ends and then these fields open up, which also they're reflecting a lot of light, which makes it look that way. But I think it is pretty much that the line of shadow is just catching these last buildings on the edge of town. So it creates an interesting image. You know, I do think though the color and the fact that we've got the bright greens there and then the light blues, I reckon this is going to really pop if you did it as a black and white conversion. Then we can use our HSLs to say, have the greens pop, have whatever colors, so kind of blues, the shimmering lake through the center kind of pop. I think we can get quite a cool effect here. What do you think of that as an edit? So that was I didn't mean to pick it. I meant to before and after. Love to hear your thoughts.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
personal
I
preference.
think I like the black and white better, but the colored one, it kind of gives me the Simba feels. Everything the light touches is yours.
Oh, but not really.
I don't know, man. I'm very movie mood.
Cool. And this is our lucky last shot. Vince Brashear.
Oh,
Super simple graphic shot, and to be honest, this is the kind of thing you see hanging on the wall of like a hotel, or actually it's the kind of thing that often does get sold as a piece of simple art for homes.
mm,
It's nicely observed, really nice tones, super simple shot, whether it took you half an hour to wait for the shadow or to get the frame just right, or it was a simple grab shot with your iPhone, doesn't really make a difference. It's like a nice shot, not something that keeps me kind of studying it, although people who are like obsessed with rust, I'm sure could spend 10 minutes looking at that seat back. Does this give you any movie vibes, Steph?
wait, are there people obsessed with Rust?
Yeah.
Wow, what?
There are
I mean,
people who
this looks
sit
like a
online for hours talking about chip buddies as well, so, you know, to each his own.
okay. Hey, for someone that's
Hey,
not aware of that, yeah, I'm very interested in it.
okay, did you then educate them on turduckens and how to inhale 7 Krispy Kremes in 4 minutes, that kind of
I
thing?
did not. Krispy Kreme donuts are really good. I mean, I don't know what else to say
The
about
photo,
them. They're just
Steph, the photo, Vince Brashear, what do you think of
oh, right,
Vince's shirt?
the photo. I think the shadows are very, very clean. The lines are very clean in this shot. I mean, this is a great example. Like, if you are not able to go out and like plan a shoot or like do anything, I mean, taking photos of whatever is available around you. I mean, you could have just been waiting at like a bus stop and then took this shot. Or, I mean, I think it's a bus stop bench. So but yeah, I think it's nice. I like the framing. Um, yeah, I like the lines.
Nice. So that
Got
is all of
Tokyo.
our entrants that we have in for this week. So Steph, if you would like to choose out your favorite, I'll also. We're going to give away copies of the Art Nude Posing Guide. I know a lot of you already picked it up as a pre-sale in the early weeks. So if you've chosen as a winner and you already bought that, then we'll happily switch it out for something else. So let's jump back and take a look at all of the images. Okay, so I got to say, I thought we would have more entries this week. Hopefully we'll get some more for patterns, which just about all the images that we have on screen here would fulfill the pattern theme as well. What do you think, Steph?
Actually, some people did ask like where their submissions are. I think we should address that.
Well, we had, this is the majority of them. There was, from memory, 5 or 6 that didn't rename the files as we asked you to, and I skipped those ones, and 1 that was too graphic in its nudity, so that was left out. But other than that, this is the submissions we had that came through on time. Sorry if someone felt that they did submit it right and we missed it, but I'm pretty sure we didn't, because I just put this together before going live. And as I say on the site, it's very simple. If you're entering, so next week the theme is patterns. So if Steph's entering a shot, resize it to around 4,000 on the long edge-ish, so it looks good on 4K video, and then rename the file to Stepham shadows.jpg. That simple. Otherwise, I have to go through, we've only got, 20 or so shots in this week's one, but if we have sometimes 80 or 100, I can't be going through and renaming 30 files to make sure that we can give the photographer credit. What do you think, Steph? What's your pick?
Okay, I think I have one. Chris Harrison.
Okay, nice. And I will go with, so an honorable, it's difficult. An honorable mention to Lath, because that is a cool shot, but you win everything, so that's enough. This was Steph's pick, Chris Harrison. What are people in the chat thinking? I'm tossing up. I actually find it quite difficult. I normally have a clear one in my head. There isn't one that really jumps out as being a standout above the rest for me, to be honest. I think I'm going to go with, and it's nothing to do with the nudity, and it's actually the one that probably I gave the most feedback to. I'm going to go with Darren Clisby, because of all the shots put in, this is one where you actually went out, created the shadow, and built the whole image up. So I think there's room for improvement here, but the amount of effort you've put in, you actually put the whole shoot together rather than noticing something and taking a grab shot. I think that's worth it. And even looking at this shot right now, I do think if you adjusted your shooting position, there are some fantastic frames right here. If you were shooting onto her, say, right breast, shoulder, face, and neck, I think there's a shot right in this frame that would work really nicely on this one. So Darren and Chris, you will be our winners. Congratulations. I'll be in touch. If you already have accounts at artnudeportraiture.com, that I will just add it to your account. Otherwise, we'll get in touch to see what you would like. So let's just quickly check the chat. Sorry, I'm sitting really funny right now, guys. I'm currently scratching Tyson's belly, who's in the chair next to me, so I have to adjust my frame. So let's see. Congrats to the winners. Thanks for the vote. David Scott, when is the next? So we try to do these weekly. It'll probably be exactly at this time in 1 week, and we'll be looking at your pattern-themed images. Cookie Coco is asking, hey, where is mine? I guess that's what Steph was talking about. Sorry, I don't recall directly off the top of my head which image was which, but if you didn't rename it, it was probably lost in that process. Cookie Coco, how do you rename on the phone? I don't know, but sorry, if you want to be involved, do it on your desktop and send it through. If you send it.
I think an option is if you upload it to Google Drive, I think you can rename it on Google Drive. That's an option for you guys if you're doing a phone file.
And someone's saying, I'm sorry, guys. I don't have all of the emails in front of me. I've already said it was either the file name was wrong or there was one that was too graphic in nudity to be shown on YouTube, or possible that I missed one, but I really don't think I did. So please check what you sent and make sure that the file name was done. It's the only requirement we have. Takes an hour of prep to do the show, an hour to do the show. All I ask you to do is to rename the file and resize it. So that's the cost of entry. So thank you guys for entering. Hope you have a great week. Steph, look out for a person at the door with some donuts. I don't know how we can actually, if they have donut deliveries in America,
how are we
but
gonna do that?
we'll figure out a way. Yes, hope you guys all have a great week. Head on over to mattgranger.com/live to get involved in the pattern theme comp. And you can check out the Art New Posing Guide that's now live and up over half price off for the launch sale. Thanks again, Steph. Best to Timmy. Give Lucky a hug for me. We'll see you next week.
You will. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.